Hi, it's Peter Joeckel here from Turn On Dynamics, and I wanted to talk to you about a term I coined for the latest podcast we did with our friends from MS Dynamics World, talking all things Microsoft Dynamics AX to D365 upgrades. So the term that I used was the AXSMB. So what do I mean by that? So in the 30 plus years of working in the ERP industry, both on an enterprise level and an SMB level, one of the things that I've found is that a lot of companies follow kind of a traditional path in their ERP software lives. Everybody, starts off with that QuickBooks implementation. They outgrow that, and then they grow to that, then they look for that next level software. Something like back in the day that would have been a Great Plains or a Microsoft GP. And then they run with that until they can no longer, properly function or grow their business using what's called, that SMB type product. So, in terms of what I call multis, force companies to grow into that next level of software from that SMB space to the enterprise space. So multis are things like multi-company, multi-plant, multi-language, right? Multi-product lines. And the more of these multis you start adding up, the bigger chances that you need to move from a SMB level product to an enterprise product. However, the AXSMBs, those are the companies that at the time that they outgrew their QuickBooks, or even at the time they started their companies, decided that they needed an enterprise level product in order to run their company. So they had some level of functionality that required something much larger than a QuickBooks or a Microsoft GP or Great Plains at the time. And they recognized that they needed to move to that in order to process their transactions and grow their company effectively. So there are companies in that AX SMB space that I've worked with, and one of my favorite quotes was that we're buying this software not for who we are today, but who we plan to be tomorrow, right? So one of the things that we're finding now with these upgrade projects from AX, from various versions of AX to the cloud Dynamics 365, is that a lot of those folks heavily modified their software, or perhaps because of the costs involved, they're not using their software as well as possible, and are behind on versions even on the AX side. And now with everything moving to the to the cloud with the push to the D365, they're having to make some heavy decisions from a cost standpoint and the future of their business. So our latest podcast, we talked to a couple of those companies that are in that spot, and we get some great conversation with folks that have been with the AX inside their companies from the start, and the things they're looking at now. So AXSMB, that company that decided that when they were too quick for QuickBooks, they weren't going for that intermediate spot, a Great Plains, or back in the day, or later on Microsoft Dynamics GP, and decided instead they're going to jump right into the deep end of the ERP pool with an enterprise level product, AX in their case, and now they're looking at their options. And from going from that implementation to the D365 and what their best move is. Check it out.